Jai Hind students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Students, obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Instead, figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. So basically, students, what I mean to say is that problems are very essential for human growth. In turmoil and crisis, there is at least an opportunity to prove yourself. That students, let us start this session. In this session, we are going to discuss about the law of conservation of energy. Yes, the law of conservation of energy. Students, we have already discussed various examples of transformation of energy from one form into another form, right? In all such cases, we have proved that energy in one form disappears and it reappears in another form. But in no case energy is destroyed or any form of energy appears of its own without the loss of some other form. What I mean to say is that if there is loss of energy of some form, then it appears in some another form, so that total energy of the system always remains constant or conserved. So wherever measurement is possible, we are actually able to prove that the loss of energy of one system is exactly equal to the gain in energy of the other system. So therefore, from this discussion, we conclude that energy is conserved. And this conclusion is called as law of conservation of energy. And this law may be stated as follows. According to this law, energy is always conserved or constant. Energy of an isolated system is always constant or conserved. That is, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. If one form of energy get destroyed, then it reappears in some another form. So energy can neither be created, neither we can create energy, nor we can destroy energy, right? Whenever some form of energy disappears, then it always reappears in some another form. So that's law of conservation of energy. So law of conservation of energy states that the energy of an isolated system is always constant or conserved, which means that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But definitely, energy can be transformed from one form to another form. So energy can be converted or transformed from one form to another form. So this is the exact statement of law of conservation of energy, right? Let's discuss some examples. Let's start with a very simple example of energy transformations. In the earlier session also we have discussed various examples, but now we will discuss some new examples. Let us assume, students, these are the two palms of my hand, and if I rub them like this, if I rub the palms of my hand, then what happens is, this is now I'm doing mechanical work, isn't it? If I keep on rubbing the palm against each other, then what happens is, it will get heated up. So, the mechanical energy is getting converted into heat energy, isn't it? So, that's the first example. Example 1. Mechanical energy being converted into heat energy. So when the palms are rubbed against each other, then some heat is produced definitely. So the mechanical energy is being converted into heat energy, right? Let's discuss some various other examples as well, like conversion of chemical energy into heat energy. Now how will you justify this statement? Conversion of chemical energy into heat energy. Now look students, when fuels are burnt, then obviously chemical energy gets converted into heat energy. So that's a very simple example. So one energy disappears and other form of energy reappears. Then there is conversion of sound energy into electrical energy. So conversion of sound energy, sound is also a form of energy. Conversion of sound energy into electrical energy. So this is also an example of conversion of one form of energy into another form. Basically, you must have heard about microphone, isn't it? A microphone is a device, actually it is known as a transducer. It is a device which converts sound energy into electrical energy, right? Then let's talk about another example. Conversion of light energy. Light is also an energy, it's a form of energy. So conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Now look, we are aware the photosynthesis process, isn't it? Now in photosynthesis, what happens is light energy or the solar energy from the sun is absorbed by the green plants, right? There is presence of chlorophyll on the leaves of green plants, isn't it? So during photosynthesis, what happens is light energy or solar energy from the sun get absorbed by the green plants, and in turn it is converted into chemical energy. So solar energy or the light energy being converted into chemical energy during the process of photosynthesis. Now let's discuss another example. Conversion of nuclear energy. Now this is the energy which is released during nuclear reactions like nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. So conversion of nuclear energy into electrical energy. So we are aware of hydroelectric power stations, right? Here, during the conversion of nuclear energy into electrical energy, in the case of nuclear power plants, nuclear power plants are basically used to generate electrical energy from nuclear energy, right? So nuclear power plant, it consists of various components basically. There, the nuclear reactions takes place and the energy so released during the reaction, it's used to convert it into electrical energy. So that's the nuclear power plants. So all these examples suggest that the energy can easily be transformed or converted from one form into another form. But the total amount of energy always remain conserved. So energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. Okay, now we are going to mathematically prove the law of conservation of mechanical energy, right? Now students, here in this case, we'll consider a body, say of mass m, to be initially placed at point A, right? Now it is made to fall freely. So its initial velocity at point A would be equal to 0. Now as it comes downward, as the body falls towards the ground, due to the acceleration, what happens is, it will get attracted towards the center of the earth and its velocity will keep on increasing as it approaches closer towards the ground. And at the instant when it strikes the ground, its velocity is maximum. Say at point P, the velocity when it strikes the ground is v. Suppose the entire path AB is h, right? And let C be any arbitrary point. Now at point C, the body will possess some finite velocity. Let it be given by v1.
And if AC is considered to be S, the total distance AB is considered to be H, then CB would be definitely given by H minus S, right? So in this case, we are considering a body of mass M, which from point A is made to fall freely under the influence of gravity. Now students, as we are aware, as the ball or the body comes downward, its speed will keep on increasing. And at the instant when it strikes the ground, its speed will be maximum, right? So obviously at the instant when it strikes the ground, its velocity is maximum. And that maximum velocity is considered to be V. And at point C, its velocity is considered to be V1, right? So what we are going to prove is that in the case of freely falling body, the total energy possessed by this body, which is the mechanical energy, which is the sum total of kinetic energy and potential energy, throughout its motion will remain conserved. So what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to mathematically prove that the total energy of the freely falling body, which is equal to the kinetic energy plus the potential energy, it will always be remaining constant, right? So this is what we are going to prove in the law of conservation of mechanical energy. So we are supposed to prove that at any instant, at point A, at point C, at point B, the total energy possessed by the body, that is Ke plus P, would be constant. So we'll be dealing with three cases. At point A, we'll prove that total energy is same as that at point C, which in turn will be same as that of the total energy possessed by the body when it strikes the ground, that is at point B. So suppose this is point A. At point A, let us consider this to be point B. At point B, and this let us consider at point C, right? At point A, students, the body is raised through height h. So by virtue of its position and height, the body at point A will possess potential energy. But since at point A it is initially at rest, so it will possess no kinetic energy, isn't it? So potential energy at point A, it is obviously equal to mg into distance, height from the ground, which in this case would be h. While on the other hand, the kinetic energy at point A, it would be equal to half m square of velocity. At point A, the body is at rest. It's the case of freely falling body. So 0 square. So it would be equal to 0. Now total energy of the falling body at point A, it would be given by sum total of kinetic energy and the potential energy, right? So what we get is, it would be equal to 0 plus mgh. That is, the total energy possessed by the body at point A is mgh. Put it as equation A. Clear, students? So this is the total energy possessed by the body at point A. Now let's consider at point B, when the body strikes the ground, right? As it comes down and strikes the ground, it will lose its height. So all its potential energy will get converted into kinetic energy. At point B, the potential energy of the body is 0. While at point B, the kinetic energy of the body is maximum because its velocity is maximum. So at point B, the potential energy of the body at point B would be equal to 0. And kinetic energy of the body at point B, it would be maximum. Half m, velocity at point B is v, which is maximum. So it is maximum, right? Now students, let's convert it in terms of the height h. So for that, what to do is, let's consider the motion of the body from A to B. We are considering the motion of the body from A to B. A is the initial point where initial velocity is 0. B is the final point where the final velocity is v, right? And from A to B, the body is covered a displacement of h. So from third equation of motion, from third equation of motion, we get v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Let's substitute the value. V is the final velocity at point B, which is v. U is the initial velocity at point A, which is 0, is equal to 2a. Since it is coming downward towards the ground, therefore A is replaced by plus g. G is the acceleration due to gravity. S is the displacement covered by the body in covering from A to B, and that is h. Therefore, students, v square is equal to 2gh, which implies that kinetic energy at point B, it is equal to half m, and in place of v square we can write 2gh. So 2 get cancelled. So what do you get? mgh. Therefore, students, total energy of the body at point B would be definitely equal to kinetic energy at point B plus potential energy at point B. Now kinetic energy at point B is mgh and potential energy at point B is 0. That is, total energy of the body at point B is mgh. Put this as equation B. So from A and B we conclude that the total energy possessed by the body at point A is exactly equal to the total energy possessed by the body at point B. What is happening is, students, at point A all the energy in the body is in the form of potential energy. Kinetic energy is 0. But as the body falls towards the ground, what happens is it tends to lose potential energy due to the loss in height, and it tends to gain in kinetic energy. So the loss in potential energy would be equal to gain in kinetic energy. And at the instant when it strikes the ground, then all its potential energy at point A gets converted into kinetic energy at point B. So as a result, total energy of the falling body at any instant during its motion simply remains constant, right? Only conversion of one form of energy into another form of energy takes place. Now let's consider this arbitrary point C. Here also we'll prove that the total energy possessed by the body is given by mgh. Now students, look at point C. Due to this velocity v1, it will possess kinetic energy, as well as by virtue of its height from the ground, h minus s, it will possess potential energy. So potential energy at point C, it would be equal to, it is at a height of h minus s. So it is mg h minus s, right? And kinetic energy at point C, at point C its velocity is v1, so it will be half m v1 square, right? Now again, let us consider the motion of the body from A to C. We are considering the motion of the body from A to C, right? Now using third equation of motion. Using third equation of motion, we get v square minus u square is equal to 2as. V is the final velocity at point C, u is the initial velocity at point A. We are considering the motion A to C. So we get v1 square minus u is the initial velocity at point A, which is 0, is equal to, the body is falling downward, so A will be replaced by plus g. G is the acceleration due to gravity. And from A to C, the displacement covered by the body is s. So it is s. Therefore, v1 square is equal to 2gs, which implies that kinetic energy at point C, it is equal to half m v1 square. So we can substitute the value of v1 square as 2gs. So we get 2 get cancelled, we get mgs. Therefore, students, total energy of the falling body at point C, it would be equal to sum of the kinetic energy at point C and the potential energy of the body at point C, right? So what we get is Kinetic energy at point C is mgs plus potential energy at point C is mgh minus s. Mgs and minus mgs get cancelled out, so we are left with total energy at point C is equal to mgh. So students, from A, B and C, what we have proved is total energy possessed by this falling body at any point during its motion is always conserved. So we have proved the law of conservation of energy, which states that the total energy of a body or an isolated system always remains constant or conserved. That is, energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. But energy can be definitely transformed from one form into another form. Right? So this is the law of conservation of mechanical energy. Now let's plot a graph showing the variation of total energy, kinetic energy, potential energy with this height h. Right? So let us discuss this graphical aspect or this graphical study. Suppose this is the vertical axis and let us consider this to be the horizontal axis. OX represent the x-axis. Suppose this is O dash and this is O double dash. Suppose O dash represent horizontal axis and O double dash represent the vertical axis, right? Now let us consider this to represent total energy or potential energy or kinetic energy, right? And this represents the height. The horizontal axis represents height. Now look students, potential energy or total energy, that at any instant is constant. So definitely it should be a straight line parallel to the horizontal axis. This will represent total energy. It is equal to Ke plus Pe, which is equal to constant. So it will be given by a straight line parallel to the horizontal axis. So whether the height is at point A or point B or point C, at any instant during its motion, whatever be the height of the object from the ground, the total energy will remain constant. So it should be a straight line parallel to the horizontal axis, right? Now, in order to plot the graph showing the variation between potential energy and the height, you are aware at the ground, when height is 0, potential energy is 0. When height is maximum, h, then potential energy is maximum. So it will be a straight line passing through the origin. So this is actually potential energy. This is the graph for potential energy. Right? While on the other hand, students, kinetic energy. Here the height is 0. So this is the point B where height is 0. Here the kinetic energy is maximum. So it will be here. Maximum kinetic energy. And here potential energy is 0. While at the maximum height, the kinetic energy is 0. This is point A, right? This is point A and this is point B actually. This is point B. So here the kinetic energy would be like this. This is the kinetic energy. So basically students, kinetic energy at point B, which is on the ground, is maximum, while the kinetic energy at point A, which is at a height h, is 0. While on the other hand, potential energy at a point on the ground, that is at point B, is 0. At point A corresponding to point A, potential energy is maximum. And at any instant, the sum of Ke and Pe at any instant at point A, point C, point B during the motion of the body always is constant. So it is given by a straight line parallel to the horizontal axis. So this is the graph which shows the variation. This is the graph which shows the variation between the total energy, potential energy and kinetic energy with the height, right? So students, in this particular lecture, we have discussed the theoretical statement of conservation of energy, law of conservation of energy. Then we have discussed various examples of conversion of one form of energy into another form of energy. And finally, we have discussed this mathematical part in which we have proved the law of conservation of mechanical energy. So students, do revise this topic, and that's it for this particular session. Do join me in my next lecture, right? Till then, do take very good care of yourself and always stay blessed. Thank you.